We're going to need a representative for each exhibitor showing in the preliminary judging to meet Sigale Foster over by the entry gate. She has the tickets for the rodeo. She'll have 2 tickets for each exhibitor. I think we're about ready to get kicked off with our grand preliminary judge and drive. We're about to bring all these calves out here. We'll bring out the reserves first, and then we'll bring out all of our champions from each breed. Coming out first, we have our reserve champion from the British division, Marcus Tolliver from Ballinger, Texas. He represents Runnels County 4-H. He plans to Texas Tech University. His favorite hobbies include football, basketball, golf, and showing cattle. Next, representing the reserve from our Shorthorn division is Chris Kellermeyer from Merida, Texas. She represents Wall FFA. Her future plans are to be a dental hygienist. Her favorite hobbies include sports and showing steers. Next, from our Brahman division, we have our reserve champion, Chelsea Tolliver. She comes from Ballinger, Texas. She represents Runnels County 4-H. Her future plans are to attend Texas Tech, Wreckham. Her favorite hobby is to play basketball. Next, we have our reserve champion from our ABC division, Cody Schrader. Her hometown is Caldwell, Texas. She represents the club Friendstead 4-H. Her future plans, she plans to go to JUCO and judge livestock and then go on to A&M. Her favorite hobbies include showing cattle, livestock judging, and golf. Next, our reserve champion from the Black AOB division is Avery Summey from Grandview, Texas. She comes from the club Grandview County 4-H. Her future plans are to attend Texas A&M. Her hobby is showing steers. Next, from our color division of our AOBs, we have Mills Meyer from Stonewall, Texas. He comes from the club Comfort FFA. His future plans are to either attend Texas Tech or A&M. He wants to raise and sell show cattle and be an embryologist. His favorite hobbies include showing steers and playing baseball. Give our reserves a round of applause. Getting kicked off with our champions. From our British division, we have Taylor Turner. She comes from Woodlands, Texas. Her club is College Park FFA. Her future plan is to attend Texas A&M, and her favorite hobby is showing steers. Next, we have our Shorthorn champion, Sierra Martin. Sierra comes from Mason, Texas, and represents Mason County 4-H. Her future plans are to attend college and judge livestock. Favorite hobby, showing livestock. Next, we've got our champion Brahmin, Kerrigan Ryan. She comes from Boulevard, Texas. She represents Smithson Valley FFA. Her future plans are also to attend Texas A&M. Her favorite hobbies are showing steers and fishing. Next, we have our ABC champion, Ty Wilson. He comes from Nacogdoches, Texas. His club is Wooden FFA. His future plans are to either go to Texas A&M or Baylor. His favorite hobby is public speaking. Next, with our champion from our Black AOB division is Kennedy Wooten. She comes from Llano, Texas, represents the club Llano County 4-H. Her future plans are to attend Texas Tech. Her favorite hobby is cheering and showing steers. Next, we have Colton Shackerford. He represents the champion from our colored AOB division. He comes from Collinsville, Texas, and represents Collinsville FFA. His future plans are to attend Texas Tech. His favorite hobby is hanging out with friends. I'd like to go ahead and take the time to appreciate our judge. We greatly appreciate Dan Ho judging the Austin Steer Show again this year. The positive impact he has on youth across the country goes unmatched. I think he said it best today in saying that we should let the cattle raise the youth and not use the youth to develop the cattle. I think it is safe to say that everyone involved with this event loves the amount of time he spends examining and working with our exhibitors. On a little lighter note, in the end, I think I can sum it up by quoting my cousin, who always says, "The sun always shines on a boss, and you, Mr. Hogue, are a boss." I'd like for everyone to put their hands together and thank our show judge, Dan Hogue.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I really don't know where to begin here other than to say personally a thank you to you folks over here on the other side of the arena and you folks behind me here. I know you have family interest out here in being here, but we'll just simply call you folks the few, the proud, I guess, to actually be here this evening. And I know you're supporting certainly members of your family, but that's what this is really all about, and staying with them to the end. And so thank you for being with us here. Once again, one never knows where to begin when you're when you're finishing a show like this. I first of all would love to. I want to thank the committee here, and the folks down here, the folks that have been back here in the way back and the reclassification, running the gates. These two gentlemen over here. I mean, they have made this show so much fun the last 2 years, and they really relate to the youth and relate to what we're really trying to accomplish here. And so I think it'd be great if you'd put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, and thank these folks for what they've done on the committee. Now, this is a special evening for me from the standpoint, and I guess sometimes they think that Hogue maybe blows a little smoke. I guess I've been known to talk quite a bit, but I want to tell you folks that to the students from Tech and to the students from Blinn Community College, and I was talking to Mark, our son, on the phone this morning, and calls in to ask how we're doing, and I said, Mark, this is one of the most rewarding events I've ever been a part of, because when you've been in coaching for 45 years like I have, and you watch these youth grow up and you watch them develop, and I've judged both Ryan and Joe Rathbun when they were showing steers and growing up, and at the Texas Majors and beyond, and Mark wants to also compliment Ryan and Joe also, and I know he's good friends with Ryan down here. The fact that that you are so blessed to have these two young men, and I mean this so sincerely, to be at the helm of your event here now, not only last year, but this year in the future. And yes, we all know that, there's Fort Worth, and there's San Antonio, and there's Houston, and then some people say, and then there's Austin. And I'm here to tell you that from what I see behind me here and the quality of cattle that we have, I really believe that having the Rathman brothers here, as a part of this show, is really a great step in the future. And so it's been an honor and a pleasure to work with Ryan and Joe here, and it really has. And then to the crew from Tech and the crew from Blinn Community College, once again, I think you folks all know, we know them well, we compete with them, and once again, that Ryan and the folks at Tech have developed simply, in this modern times and over the last decade, a legend in how many times that they have won the North American, which is, the pinnacle of senior college livestock judging. This year, Blinn Community College, without a doubt, is the very best junior college in the United States. And what I think is so important in terms of their record this year and the youth they're turning out, and what is so important to me is that you saw how these youth handle themselves out here in the ring today. You saw them help students, young exhibitors, whenever they were asked to, and some, not to. And so from that standpoint, I just simply can't say enough. And both programs are doing it so well, and they're doing it so right. I wish you'd put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, and thank the and the folks from Blinn and the Rathman. And I know there's another university in this state, and I'm good buddies with them too at A&M. And Kayla, where have you been? I had to ask for the mic. I don't know, but anyway, I'll just mention that. Thank you for your help today. And you don't realize over 2 days, from the standpoint of just bringing water, standpoint of someone coming up, and you can share a thought, share a comment with and it just takes some of the edge off. And so, Kayla, we thank you so much, and you're such a great asset to all of this. Here we go. Over in the arena this evening, we're going to name the grand and we're going to name the reserve grand steer. And I think Sigel Foster is really concerned that I might slip and say something here this afternoon or this evening, and I'm not. I'm not. But at the same time, I hope you folks all realize, but again, maybe you're too young to realize this, that when you talk about Bucky Lamb, when you talk about Johnny Filipino, when you talk about Katie Richmond, when you talk about Sigil Foster, and Sigil's down here, and she's been my contact the last 2 years. Once again, watch this young lady grow up, and again, to all of those from Bucky, through everyone, and particularly Sigil's down here and been a great supporter, great friend. Let's give her a great round of applause, if you would, because she's a true talent, a true young leader in the livestock industry. And why this is so important to me this evening, folks, because, this is the final drive. You realize that? This is the final drive, as we say. As I said a couple of years ago, and now I'm becoming even more convinced of this, this may be my final drive. And so from that standpoint, it's really, really special to be out here this evening and to go over there after a while. To the youth of our show, you've been incredible to work with. You've been so responsive and so accepting, even in some of the most difficult of situations when you just knew you wanted to do better and you thought you should have done better, and I compliment you. When you consider that these champions and reserves, ladies and gentlemen, had to meet a way back again this evening, and how these cattle come out here and how they look, and I've said this, and I will say it again, and I would say it to the folks at San Antonio and the folks at Houston. There's steers out here in this lineup that can run at any of the Texas majors and run at any level of competition. To come back like this and have this kind of freshness and this similarity of body shape and structural integrity, I think speaks so well. You realize a judge can only place, and a judge can only put together the cattle or livestock that are brought to them on that given event. And so you folks, I thank you and I compliment you. Got to talk about him here. This Hereford grows on me. This Hereford grows on me. Maybe just a little, you ask yourself yesterday, does he have enough muscle as a Hereford cattle, and to put that kind of balance and that kind of skeleton together and draw the underline like he has in him and give that kind of turn to his quarter. Young lady, that is a really good Hereford steer, and I compliment you. And I said to her that he's just simply, with a day of rest and even keeping his weight in check, he's still right there. I mean, he's fresh topped. He's really, really good. Look at the angles, and he may be the best angled steer we have out here in this lineup. To the young lady with the shorthorn steer, I said to her as I was handling the steer, once again, this steer is an amazing shorthorn steer when you consider you pull the hair off of him. And I'm not going to stand out here and say, for a shorthorn or anything like that, because I know that's said too often. But when you consider and you step in behind him and realize how much he has in terms of top and hip and quarter, that is that is a really good shorthorn steer. Yes, you could say you could tuck him up in his chest plate there a little bit, but really, that's irrelevant to how good that cattle is. And check out his angles and his ability to come back. I really believe, and to stay this way, I really believe that if we put a different neck on, take out some of this extra leather up front in this Brahman steer handles like an immense topped, really, really high cutability cattle, and he does it in a very sound, very balanced package. And again, a credit to the breed and a credit to the young person in the program that bred this cattle, that he has Brahman character, and yet he has that kind of top and that kind of hip and hind leg that drops out of his skeleton there. And he, when you get your hands on him, it's crazy good how good he really is. He could be a little longer necked and all the above, but I guess we haven't found a perfect one yet, have we? The ABC comes back, and check out the bone work and check out the natural length and strength of skeleton that he represents, and he does so in a balanced package as we study his underline, study his top line there, and you step in behind him, and once again, you realize that he is an awfully good representative of that particular division. And I'm sorry, but these can run anywhere. The Black Cross winner from yesterday, when you look at this steer at the stand right there, I mean, he's hard to deny that he has an incredible look up through his neck and front end. He really drops a tremendous amount of body shape and depth to us here. And maybe there's going to be fresher handling steers in our lineup, and we'd maybe like to take that hind leg and just set it under him a little differently. But in terms of what he represents at the stand, and when you just talk about dimension and balance and the parts and pieces fitting, I'm not sure there's a better cattle out here that's any better in their underlying coming out of their chest floor than that one is. The steer that comes out of a really tremendous day-to-day, division today. And once again, you have to understand that these cattle that have been shown today, they have to come back with only a couple of hours of rest, and I think it's important to understand that. And this steer, from the standpoint of just his sheer natural rib shape and total dimension and the amount of muscle that he lays on that skeleton, basically is one of those that are so unique in their kind in terms of what he represents. As we said in class, as we said in division, he, like all of these cattle out here, you could maybe change in a place or two, and you ask yourself, these kind of questions, but he's so comfortable, he's going to stretch now. I like that. And so, this guy, is really what one could call an outlier in a population. I want to come back here and talk about, for what Dan Hogue appreciates in steers, probably this reserve light cross today. Check out that neck and where it sets, and that look from a profile, and that look. And at the stand, I'm not sure, for me personally, there might be any better cattle out here. And you are surprised when you step in behind that cattle and see the natural turn out of his, as he feeds out of his shoulder into his top line, back along his loin edge and back through his hip and stifle. As we said in class and division, may want to just flex him a little differently. Our reserve black from yesterday, black cross from yesterday, I said to the young lady, I still like this steer. He's sound, he's really flexible in the way he's put together, and he has more than enough terminal look in terms of market cattle, and we really like him. The Bronco face steer, stout boned, really good in his top line, representing the ABCs, and he really is a stout steer. Handles, I think, very accommodatingly in relation to his weight and the breed he's representing, and has a great hip in him and a great hind leg. Young lady's got a good look on him here. This Tiger steer, once again, didn't want me to handle him this afternoon, and that's fine. I handled him yesterday, and this guy's turn to his top and out through his hip and quarter are just tremendous. He's actually a little longer neck than the steer that beats him in division, has a nice balanced look, and just what the pieces they're really fit. Our predominantly red steer here, in the shorthorn division, really represents a very muscular steer that has a tremendous amount of just natural shape and tone, and he does so in a very correct package. And then our reserve British steer here that came out of our first division, once again, the top line is laid in him right, the bone matches his body matches his frame size, and we call that balance, and his lines are really good. There could be, just a shade more just natural pop to his muscle and top compared to some of the others, but when you talk about the breeds that we represent, in this case the Red Angus, I mean, he has more than enough muscle, because that's not what we put him on this good earth to do, is always add muscle to a breeding program. So really a great set of steers out here, and I compliment each and every one of you. And if Sigale Foster would come out here now, we are about to bring this to a close, and I wish all of you the very best of luck in your college degrees and in your work if you're younger than that, continuing on. And maybe Dr. Ryan Rathman said it best today, because this is Austin and it's the last show, so to speak, as we talk for this season, and for you seniors, it may be the last show that you will ever be a part of. And so with that stated, again, this is a very positive moment in your showing careers, to say the least. And it's been a sincere honor. I would ask you folks behind me here, let's give them one more nice round of applause as they leave the ring. And congratulations to all of you. It's been an honor to work with you.
Yeah, his music. Just to remind everyone, y'all need to meet over here at 6:40, no later than 6:40 on the south end of the arena, over here in the warm-up ring. All of y'all need to meet over there no later than 6:40. We've got some showmanship awards to give out. The senior winner for this year is Jordan Matrice. If any of their family members are here, you can come down here and get your awards. If not, we'll just meet with them at a later date. The junior winner is Trail Schrader.